Before I could make it to the room, I stepped on a loose nail. The nail embedded itself into my big toe, piercing right through it. God damn it, Dahlia! Okay, so that being said, of course, we've got our links. Follow us on the socials. Come join the Discord, join the mailing list, because we will announce various different things.
Jennifer Lawrence made the news when she demanded.
What about J-Lo? Anyway, that's don't distract me. So, we will probably do announcements through that mailing list, especially let you know where they are, who, the what, the where, the how, because this is, of course, coming right after our 1-year anniversary.
Right.
So if
the challenge,
yeah.
I am going to be keeping up with everybody, and quite literally, it's like we ask you, please, get on the mailing list, go to the Discord, stay in contact regardless of what happens, whether you find us on Facebook, Instagram, all the places. No, I am not going to censor myself. It's like, if we're going out with a bang at this particular point. So here we are. There it is. And with that, find us in all the places. All the links are in the bios. Stay up to date with us. And also, we have a lot of things that are going to be coming in 2025. This is not going to stop us. This is just a bump in the road.
Mm-hmm. And we've also got the means, like I said, we keep talking about it. We just haven't ironed out the final details. But
Right.
We want to do author interviews and book release parties and celebrate the authors and bring authors and readers together. That's the whole kit and caboodle there. So I do know we got a late start. We do have 5 submissions in the inbox, and I know Vegas Jen also had a bit for it. Still waiting for that to show up, or her to show up if she wants to read hers aloud, because we know she ain't pulling that from anywhere else. We've known Jen now over a year, and so
we keep goating her into doing the writing, and she did get a brand new laptop, so it's like now it's time for you to get serious.
Yep, exactly. So that being said, while this was not the first submission, I had a personal sent to me request that theirs be done relatively early because they have to get to bed.
Oh, so, absolutely. No, if it's something like that, no, go ahead and read theirs first.
Yep. So this is by my dearest and bestest friend, Kesh Butler. We go back to senior year of high school, y'all. Okay, so that's...
Isn't that also Mama Metal?
Yep.
All right.
Mommy Metal 2014 in the comments. First time submitting for reading aloud. So, and whether they like it or not, okay. Yeah, great. So, it's going to be a case of pardon my French, just so y'all are aware. Okay. She stepped over the root as she followed the path over the hill. As she came around the bend, she saw the top of the large tent. It was black, and the side panels were alternating panels of red, black, and white. She was hit with a wave of dizzying confusion and stopped in her tracks, staring at the giant tent that hadn't been there the last time she had explored that trail. Stacked on top of her confusion was the overwhelming sense of being watched, causing her hairs on the back of her hand to stand on end. She nervously looked around her immediate area, not seeing anything. What the actual fuck is going on here? She voiced to the surrounding trees. The fuck! A loud shriek reverberated the air around her. She frantically looked around, trying to find the source. She wanted to run, but didn't think running would help. Slowly, she started to take steps backwards, towards the way she had come, trying to look at everything and anything all at once. The fuck! The fuck! The voice echoed again, echoing between her ears. She turned and ran away from the area, fear pushing her further and further away from the strange sight she had wandered up upon. She rounded another bend in the trail and stopped in her tracks as she almost ran into the tent. It had moved? What the actual fuck? The shrill voice echoed what she had said further up behind her on the trail. A giant black bird landed on the ground next to her. The fuck? The fuck? It echoed. She backed away from the bird, only to back into someone standing behind her. She whipped around, and staring her down was a skeletal-looking man with hollow eyes and a predatory grin. His teeth had all been sharpened to points and looked yellowed with age and miscare. Well, hello. Who do we have here? His voice oozed from between his lips, a foul odor traveling through the air with every word that escaped from his raspy throat.
And sorry, that just gave me a tickle.
Moving on. Her heart jumped into her throat, and the hair stood on the back of her neck. Every fiber in her being demanded that she run as fast as she could. Stepping backwards, she slowly tried to move away from the man and his avian companion, losing her footing on a root as she did. She felt the ground come up to meet her, hitting the dirt hard as she momentarily closed her eyes and lost sight of the both of them. Her eyes snapped open, and she frantically looked around for the two of them and a way to get away. She scrambled to her feet and stumbled away from the man, his bird, and the tent. She took to her top speed, just trying to get as far away from them as she possibly could. It was all to no avail. After stumbling and falling again, she looked up, and there they were, standing at the entrance of the tent, which had somehow moved to be in front of her again. Trapped, she knew it, but she would still do everything she could to escape and get away from him. Did you hurt yourself? I am not here to harm you, just to merely show you things you can never imagine, he said as he extended his hand to help her get up. She tentatively touched her fingers to his, drawing her hand back at how cold to the touch his skin was. Ah, yes, yes. Your kind tend to find mine cold to senses. I do apologize. A black leather glove appeared on his extended hand, and she tentatively touched his hand again, this time not finding it as cold as she had the first time. This time she accepted his help as he easily lifted her to her feet, as though she barely weighed anything to him. Oh, she claimed in surprise at the speed and deftness she was lifted to her feet. There you go, my dear. He dusted off her back for her. The hair on the back of her neck stood up again as a shiver ran up her spine. The thought crossed her mind that she was the prey, and he was merely just playing with his food. But she quickly pushed the thought from her mind, trying to calm her nerves so that she could think clearly. But her heart was still beating fast, and it made it hard for her to swallow. The fuck? The crow squawked. Yes, yes, quiet down, bird. It was a command, and the bird obliged, ticking its legs under its feathers. I most humbly apologize for the fright that I and my companions may have caused you. We have stopped to rest on our journey to the underworld. Her reaction must have been apparent because he continued, Have you not seen my kind before, child? His black eyes looked into hers. She pulled her hand back away from his, the nebulousness of his gaze sending more panic through her nervous system. The voice in her head was screaming bloody murder. Run! Taking a small step back again, she turned to run and ran straight into a wall, or what she thought was a wall. She looked up and stared into the eyes of a giant dressed as a clown. Black and red wove together to make a costume that was exquisitely terrifying. The embroidery along the seams of the costume twisting and turning like smoke going along the stitching. I'm sorry, she stuttered, backing away from the giant and into someone else. That was when she realized that she was surrounded by the man and his companions, trapped with no way of escape. She melted to her knees in defeat as she realized that she was not leaving the hiking trails the way she had come. A sigh of loss escaped her lungs, and she looked back to the first man in the crowd. What do you want from me? She whimpered. I want to leave. Leave? Oh, but who is stopping you from leaving? He motioned to a space between two of his companions, big enough for her to walk through. You are. Every time I try to get away from you, you block my way. Her exclamation in panic came out more shrill than she intended, betraying her anxiety in the situation. I can prove to you that you are in no danger, my dear. The danger has already passed. That brought her out of her panic, and she turned her entire body to face him. What do you mean? Her face was deadpan as she looked back at him incredulously. She followed his hand as it moved and pointed towards the gap between his companions. She took a step forward toward the opening and looked to the ground. There, laying before her, she saw herself, lifeless and gray, her eyes staring blankly at nothing. What is happening? She asked, wanting to look over her shoulder at him, but unable to take her eyes off her body. Was she dead? Was this all a dream? Her mind raced 1,000 miles an hour, unable to process the information she was absorbing. I don't understand. Why are you doing this? It is our job, my dear, his cold reply came. Job? Yes, job. We merely harvest souls to take to the underworld. Unfortunately, when you touched my hand, it put you into a shock, and you passed from the mortal realm. A half grin came across his face. I'm dead? But why didn't I feel anything? She felt a tear form in the corner of her right eye. It was always her right eye that teared up first. The final crossing into the realms of death is quite instantaneous and painless. Oh, there may be pain leading up to it, but the final act of ceasing to be mortal is without pain. Many find it freeing once they make the realization, he explained and started to circle around her. She moved with him, not trusting for him to be out of her sight again. How? How did I die when I touched you? I don't understand. It was a mistake, I'm sure. We don't directly interact with mortals on a normal basis. You were not supposed to have been here today. No one was. That is why we chose to stop here. The hollow-looking woman in a pink leotard and tulle skirt stepped forward. Her voice sounded both sweet and haunting, almost childlike, but with a tone that betrayed years of knowledge. My bad. I thought it was still Skeleton Man talking.
You're fine.
Sorry, I've read part of this before.
See, I thought I've heard this one before, but it was only up to the tent part, and then she ran, and then ran into the tent again. And I think that was the last thing I had ever heard of this one.
Yes. So, pardon me, I'm sharing with y'all the scariness that is my best friend. This should explain me a little bit. Just... Exactly. Thank you, Emily. The ringmaster acknowledged her as she stepped back into the circle of circus performers. Why a circus? Why do you travel as a circus? She asked. Because that is what we were in life. That was our joy when we were still among the living. And now we travel all the realms of heaven and earth, helping to usher lost souls into the underworld. The wall of a man dressed like a clown shuffled back and forth on his feet as though he were in pain. She looked up to him and into his black eyes, and he smiled, showing teeth sharpened to points. The sight did nothing to help her unease. She returned her attention back to the ringmaster. I now have to figure out what to do with you, he said, stopping in front of her and locking his gaze on her. You see, as you were not supposed to be here and have died before your time, both you and I are now locked into a predicament. What do we do with your soul? What do I do with your body? Do I put you back with the knowledge of death? Or do I keep you as part of my troupe? Or do I take you to the river to be judged early? It's a hard decision. Of course, I know your choice, and it's much more difficult than just returning you to your body. And I am not the one who has the knowledge to do that. And time is very limited. He flicked a glance at her body and then back at her. I mean, of course I want to go back to being alive, she replied. Why wouldn't I? I have friends and family that will miss me. Put me back. As I stated, I do not have the knowledge to do so. He turned and motioned for the clown and strongman to pick up her body and take it into the tent. So we will try and find a being who does, and hope that we may do it in time. Let us go, time is short. As he extended his hand, inviting her to enter the dark maw of the tent, she stepped forward into the dark unknown, knowing she had little choice if she wanted to go back to her old life. She passed into the shadow of the entryway under the big top, eyes darting every way they could go as she took each hesitant step forward. She didn't know what she expected, but a mundane circus setting with 3 rings and risers wasn't it. She looked to her right, watching the oversized clown carrying her body towards an entry opposing the main entrance to the tent. The dimly lit circus looked dingy and felt oppressing, everything colored a monochromatic palette of grays, black, and white. The only color being from the performers who were walking with her towards where Clown was carrying her physical self. I'm really confused, she blurted out, looking at first the ringmaster and then the tulle-draped woman, possibly a trapeze artist? At least that is what she assumed. She hadn't been to any type of circus since she was a child. Just follow us. Things will become apparent. Dun dun dun.
Oh, that's where they're going to leave it?
That's where Kesh Butler is going to leave it. So,
Cash, I have words for you later.
We may be a duo that likes to leave people hanging.
I mean, I like to leave people hanging too, but give me a break.
I don't care. The number of times, Cash, that Jules hasn't finished. I didn't finish last time.
How many times have I not gotten to the prompt? How many times have I not gotten to the prompt?
Yeah. Especially before we were doing the dialogue ones, where it was like, you could see where it was going, and it's like, Julie, we need to know more. We need to know how you got, where you're going to go from here to the end. Write it. And now you have approaching 40 works in progress.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where that one went.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you got the 25 that are just destined for more.
Yeah.
And thanks to all this, have some more. Ugh. But, and you know what? I don't have a problem with clowns. I really don't.
No, it's just the way she describes them.
Yes.
That's my problem.
Mm-hmm. And I know this wasn't my normal reactionary for the audience, because I have read part of that before. So I did it a little bit more dramatically than I normally do.
But you knew where to be dramatic at. So.
Because they are scary. Not supposed to be scary. They are scary. Come on, let's be honest here.
Attack of the Unalating Clowns, come on now. Pennywise, come on now. Bozo the Clown, come on now. There's another clown that's here locally. There's another clown locally here in Nebraska. He had there's a lot of bodies under that clown in Bellevue's porch.
So yeah, for anyone who is interested, Kesh has been writing since before I met them. That's number one. And number two, this is where they're at now with their storylines. So, please continue to hound them like I do to keep writing. Thank you.
Oh, don't worry. They're going to be put on my weekly. Yeah, leave Bozo alone. Yeah, I'm look. I am from Chicago. Leave Bozo alone.
Hell, and then of course locally we had something on after school at our local Fox station. Happy the Hobo.
Yeah, I remember Happy the Hobo.
Yep, he got some other places as well. But I was on his show. I refused to be on the risers on the stage. Stage fright, remember? I don't know why this is different. Or maybe I'm just old and I don't give a flying fuck anymore.
A little bit of all of it.
Yes, and Froggy's pad. All right, so that being said, we're on to a short one from our resident dude, Mr. PA Power.
A short one. Wow.
Well, no, I'm looking at it and it fits on my screen. So
that's because I can't give you the whole chapter.
Yeah, you cannot give me the whole chapter because I know. All right, Kesh. Okay, so yet another snippet from Decoding Shady Pines, hopefully out soon in 2025. Maybe.
It's finished, or at least finished writing.
It's finished enough that it's at the editor.
Well, as long as we don't keep adding more stuff for him to write into it. Up next, again, the prompt was, did you hurt yourself? The morning sun cast long shadows across the pack training grounds as David led Zach through the forest trail. The crisp air hummed with energy, the kind that made Zach's skin tingle with anticipation. Okay. Ramsey stirred within him, a low rumble in his chest that made Zach pause more than once. David, sensing his hesitation, gave his hand a reassuring squeeze. You'll do fine, David said, his blue eyes shining with confidence. We're here to see what you and Ramsey are capable of, not to test your limits. Zach nodded, his breath steadying. He wasn't sure what to expect, but with David by his side, the fear that had been coiling in his stomach began to loosen. The training grounds were alive with movement. Pack members sparred in pairs, their sharp movements precise and powerful. A few paused to greet David with a bow of respect, their gazes lingering curiously on Zach. He tried to ignore their scrutiny, focusing instead on the warm pressure of David's hand guiding him forward. All right, David said, stopping in the center of the grounds. This is where we'll train. The pack knows to give us space today. Zach raised an eyebrow. Special treatment, huh? David smirked. Perks of being alpha. More like perks of dragging your human boyfriend to wolf boot camp, Zach muttered under his breath, earning a chuckle from David. As they stood in the clearing, David's demeanor shifted. The playful glint in his eyes was replaced by a seriousness that made Zach's heart race. Ready? He asked, stepping back to give Zach room. As ready as I'll ever be, Zach replied, his voice steady despite the nerves prickling his skin. David crossed his arms. Ramsey, let's see what you've got. Pardon me. Coke. The air around Zach seemed to thicken, and he felt Ramsey stir fully within him. That's what he said. A low growl echoed in his mind as his vision sharpened, his senses heightening in an instant. His muscles coiled with energy, and before he realized it, he had taken a defensive stance. Not bad, David said, circling him. Let's test your reflexes first. Without warning, David lunged. His movements were a blur, but Zach reacted instinctively, dodging to the side and countering with a swift kick. David blocked it easily, his grin widening. Quick learner, he teased, but you'll need more than speed to take me down. Zach narrowed his eyes, his confidence growing with each exchange. Ramsey's voice guided him, a steady presence in his mind. Strike low, then high. Keep him guessing. Following Ramsey's advice, Zach launched into a series of attacks, his movements growing more fluid with each step. David parried and countered, but Zach noticed the slight shift in his expression. A flicker of surprise that spurred him on. Their sparring continued, the intensity building until Zach's breaths came in quick, sharp bursts. Suddenly, Ramsey's energy surged within him, a heat that spread through his limbs like wildfire. He moved faster than he thought possible, ducking under one of David's punches and sweeping his legs out from under him. In a blink, Zach had David pinned to the ground, his knees on either side of the alpha's chest. David groaned, his hands bracing against Zach's weight. Ouch! Damn it, Zach! Zach's lips twitched into a grin. Aw, did you hurt yourself, Mr. Big Bad Wolf? David glared up at him through the corner of his mouth, though the corner of his mouth twitched in amusement. Damn it, yes! Zach leaned closer, his voice dropping to a playful whisper. But did you die? No, but David began, only to cut himself off with a pout. Zach chuckled, his confidence soaring. Then maybe it's a lesson to learn. When playing with fire, sometimes you can get burned, but sometimes, he added, leaning in until their noses almost touched, it can be just the heat you need to warm things up. That's why we're ending that right there. I guess you'll have to all see the end of that scene when it comes out in 2025.
Sorry. Not sorry.
I bet you're not sorry. Hey, Dahlia.
Okie dokie.
Jen, I'm glad you loved it. Thank you, Dahlia, for the applause.
Tapping is clapping, everybody. Tapping is clapping.
Yeah, and then sadly that is the last prompt. The last prompt that was filtered into the book because I sent it to the editor, and in 8 days or so, I will have the first round of edits back from the editor.
Yay!
And just sent out another email to the people making my cover. They wanted a couple questions answered, so took care of that. So hopefully I'll have an answer back from that, and then I can do a cover reveal. And then I can get everything done, and hopefully, by the grace of God and things don't get crazy at work, I might be able to have this out for New Year's.
Nice. Very nice. I just realized mine never sent in. It's sitting right there ready to go, but it...
Oh.
Yeah, I don't care if there's a subject or text in the body. It's just the document.
Why don't you read it from where it's at?
Because I get distracted by other things in the program.
Oh,
This
okay.
keeps it.
Gotcha.
And here's the other thing. One of the other reasons why we want to have it all in there is something that we are planning for next year.
Oh, yes, very much so.
We want to keep a running tally of how many words
The goal is 1
prompters have
million
written.
words read out on the show for 2025.
Yep. So everybody, submissions will count towards that word count, and all of us together as a community are going to write at least a minimum of 1 million words for the prompts. The prompters will get to 1 million. So we want them all in that inbox so that we can do word counts and keep everybody up to date. Another good reason to join
also be a part of the email.
Yes. Don't give me that look, Dahlia. You might be able to get the.
It sounds off the wall, but in all actuality, if all of us were writing a book, and our word counts were, let's say, 100,000 words apiece, then that would only put us at 10 books.
10 people. 10 people, each writing 100,000 words in a year. That's 1 million words.
Yeah, and let's face it, me and Patrick put out 100,000 words in less than 6 months a piece.
Yeah. Now, that being said, we're not talking about your works in progress, blah, 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 blah. The stuff for the prompt, which, if it's part of one of your works in progress, if you wind up making a work in progress or a book out of what you're putting together, fine. But as the prompters of the Hold My Pen Promptcast,
right,
want them in our email, so that way they're ready to go. Again, email address is in
the bio.
The links from ours to the Hold My Pen Promptcast. I have a post-it note somewhere with your totals. And they're epic novels length. So now we just have to get it edited, reworked, tweaked, and looked back over. And Kesh will have a book, whether she likes it or not. Okay. Right. So our next prompt for "Did you hurt yourself? Use this dialogue" comes from one of our oldest and dearest friends and supporters, Trisha Jones.
Whoop, whoop.
My heart thundered in my chest as I ran through the woods. I gotta keep going. I can't stop. They'll catch me, I thought, as I ran blindly into the thicker part of the woods. I slowed down briefly. I heard them get closer. Just as I picked up pace again, I tripped over a root and fell down an embankment that I didn't notice. I hit the bottom and everything was black for a while. When I finally was able to open my eyes, it was dark. How long have I been laying here? I tried to move, but my body was stiff. I heard someone coming, so I decided to lay still. I saw a woodsman as he came to the embankment. He saw me laying there, scared out of my mind. "You okay, ma'am? Did you hurt yourself, did you?" he asked. "I'm okay. I think I just fell." "Looks like you hit your head pretty hard." He wiped to my forehead, came back with red juice. "I tripped over a root, I think. I fell down this embankment," I said, pointing to the wall of earth. "Oh, let me take you home and I'll see what I can do about patching you up." "I can't go home," I said, panicked. "No one there wants me." "Well then, ma'am, I'll take you to my logging camp. The on-hand doctor can patch you up." He picked me up and carried me away. I wasn't sure how much I could trust him, so I didn't tell him a whole lot. I just told him just for a while. "Sounds like you got a concussion. Let the doc patch you up. He'll fix you up right as rain." The logging camp was made up of tents and a small cabin. There was a tall, thinner guy with glasses on, standing just outside the cabin door. Dun, dun, dun.
That's it?
Trisha? I have questions. What was she running from? Why is he so easily, just so ready to help her? What is the Shh. I have questions.
I have a lot of questions.
Lots of questions.
Trisha, good job.
Very good job. No, that's not me, Big Mad. That's not.
No, I've seen Izzy Big Mad, usually after reading my stuff.
There we go. Welcome up, brother. Hey, Jacob. I hope so too. Hello, Haru. Hey, everybody's back. Food. Okay. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Julie had to run off, so we're picking up for this next hour. Probably not the full hour, but we'll see if Julie's able to make it back. So we just finished Trisha's prompt reading, and as I said, I have questions. No, you are fine. Y'all don't have to apologize for where you leave it, because worst case scenario, it just leaves us craving more, right? And if we aren't craving more, maybe it's a story you don't want to keep on working on, right? I mean, logic, but I have so many questions. Yeah, never be sorry. Never be sorry. Okay, and then of course, now that we are back, we're good to go. Again, this week's weekly writing prompt was to use this dialogue. Did you hurt yourself? And all the different ways that could be construed. And so next up is our lovely, dear, resident scare the pants off Izzy writer, Dahlia. Okay, so I have a note here of where to start because it's ongoing. Okay, so this is the ongoing one, and if anybody was here last week and the two people were in the car and were looping around the family vacation, whatnot, that's where we are picking up this week. As I walked into the house, my eye caught on an old dusty book in the center of the living room. Noticing I was staring, my mom dragged me over to it. Come, open it, my mother said. Why am I opening some old book? Ever heard of cursed objects? I asked. Very valid point. Very valid point. If you found it in the bottom of the ocean, maybe you should leave it in the bottom of the ocean.
All I can think of is Titanic in the heart of the ocean.
I mean, there is that. There is that. No, it's fine. Me and the boys opened it. It's just a fascinating book, she replied. I glare at her for a long moment before looking at Kara. I think I am good. Thank you for showing it to me, Mom, I said. Oh, don't be so dramatic, my mom said, opening the book roughly halfway. On the page were the words, "You will leave this place renewed." See, nothing to worry about. It's just like a fortune cookie. Flipping to another random page closer to the front of the book, the same words appear on the page. You will leave this place renewed. Okay, now you try. It's harmless, really, my mom said, closing the book. I hesitantly look at the book for a long moment. My gut sinks as the quiet fills the air. Looking from my mom to Kara. Kara gives me a shrug as she stares at the book as well. It's okay. Honestly, mine read, "You will become a man with newfound powers." No idea what that means, but it sounds fucking amazing to me, my brother said before carrying my suitcase upstairs. Ignoring my gut, I slowly opened the book to a random page. The words, "You will leave with newfound knowledge," appeared on the page. Flipping to a few different pages, the same words kept appearing. What the hell is that supposed to mean? I mumbled. Maybe it's like a mystery and we will have to uncover the meaning as we stay here. Like a little game left by the people running this place, my mother cheered. What about you, Kara? You want to see what fortune this book has to offer you? My father asked. No thanks. Something about that book feels off, Kara replied. Oh, nothing bad seems to come from it. Mine said, you will become a worthy leader. That doesn't sound so bad to me, he said, puffing out his chest. Oh, I can see 1,000,001 fucking ways Dahlia can make this go, oh, so wrong. Let me compose myself. Oh, hold on. We all rolled our eyes and moved on to doing a little house tour. Going from each room, I noted all the weird stuff around the house. Corners of the house were dusty with spiderwebs in different parts of the rooms, looking as if there hadn't been a single person in here for years. Are you sure this is the place we booked our stay at? Doesn't look like anyone has been on top of the maintenance, I questioned as we finished looking around. I did get an email from the people running it that they weren't able to make it down due to a family emergency they have been dealing with for the past year, my mom replied. And they couldn't hire cleaners to come down and do it for them? I huffed. Oh, it's just some dust and spider webs. Not that big of a deal, my mom snapped back. Anyone down to go to the hot springs and relax there before it gets dark? Kara interrupted. Ah, yes, that sounds like a great idea, my father replied. I'll get my speaker, my brother cheered. The boys were out the door faster than I could change. Those boys were waiting all day for you guys to get here. They already had their swim shorts on when we left the house, my mother laughed. Together, the three of us girls headed down the trail. Wooden boards beneath our feet creaked with every step. Making it to the hot springs, the boys were relaxing in different bubbles of water, with different areas of the water divided by rocks. I chose the biggest section of water, placing my towel and water on the rock. Kara and my mom hopped in just as my phone started ringing. Oh, come on. I am not even in the water yet. Who the hell is calling me? I huffed, grabbing my phone. An unknown number popped up. I end the call without even picking up. It immediately rings again. As it's ringing, a message from the number pops up. October 21, 2024. Unknown. Please answer. It's important. 5:12 p.m. The phone rings once more after a few minutes. Risking it, I answered the phone. Hello, who is this? I asked. Leave that hot spring. Save yourself before it's too late. The unknown male voice whispered, fear in his voice. Who are you? And what are you talking about? I retorted. I don't have time to explain. Just leave you, and everyone must leave. Did you find my message? He asked. Huh? No, what message? I snapped. Fuck. Just leave before he said, interrupted with a piercing scream and grunting on the other line. The sound of a fight went on in the background before the phone line went dead. What the fuck just happened? I faltered. I'm not faltering. What the fuck just happened? Okay. Just relax and we can deal with that stuff later, my mom insisted. I got into the hot spring and jammed out to my brother's playlist. The boys later joined us and we chatted about life. As we leaped in and out of the water, I distracted myself as much as possible, but the thoughts of that phone call played on repeat. As the sunset began, we all got out and headed back to the house. I dressed in some warm, fuzzy PJs and helped make some dinner. We made pasta with meatballs. Meatballs. Thank goodness you packed the meals. We just bought all the snacky foods, Kara said as she grabbed a plate and began digging in. I didn't bring this stuff. I brought some smokies, taco stuff, and other easy to make on a fire. Wasn't sure what to expect. Didn't think a house as old as this had a working stove or oven. The only thing I added in was the beef, my father said. I looked at Kara, and we gave each other a holy fuck look. Eyebrows up, a forced fake smile, and look from each other to the others. No one noticed what we were doing as they grabbed themselves some food. As we finished dinner and washed the dishes, everyone started heading to bed. Me and Kara had a little small talk as we waited for everyone else to leave. What the fuck is going on? I asked. This place is giving me the creeps. I swear something about this place is wrong, Kara replied. Yeah, no kidding. How is there spiders and dust all over the place? But somehow there's perfectly good food that's not expired laying around for us to eat? If they are going to fill the place with food, you would think they would clean the place a little bit. Kara looked around the kitchen, checking out all the expiration dates. I began to help, going from one food product to another. Everything was good, and even the stuff that expired fast was good for a few days. They must have filled up literally a day or even hours before any of us arrived, Kara said. What should we do? I asked. It's too late to leave now. We should head out first thing in the morning, Kara replied. We made our way to bed after we put everything back in their correct spots. Our bedroom had 2 twin-sized beds on each side of the room. Closing the door, I plugged my phone in and checked my notifications. Swiping most of them away, one catches my eye. Opening it up, my gut twists and turns. October 21. Jamie, are you enjoying that hot spring of yours? 9:27 p.m. What are you talking about? 11:53 p.m. Jamie, did you enjoy the food I left you? 11:58 p.m. Where are you? 11:59 p.m. October 22nd, 2024. Jamie, where I can see you. 12 o'clock a.m. I jump out of bed and start looking around the room. Closet, under the bed, out the window, every part of the room I could think of. What is wrong? Kara asked. Jamie, he found me. Kara leaped out of the bed and started helping me look around as well. With the both of us looking, another message from unknown appeared. October 22nd, 2024. Unknown. Leave now. They are coming. $12:05. Hey, our host is back. Okay. Let's see here. Leave now. They are coming. 12:05 a.m. Who are they? 12:05 a.m. I paused for a long moment as I processed what just happened. Kara, that unknown number from earlier. Well, they just sent me a message. I stuttered. She ran over to me and looked at the message and checked the earlier messages to confirm it was the same number, even going as far as checking the number from messages to phone calls. She went pale as realization kicked in. We ran out of the bedroom into other rooms. She went to my brother's room as I went to my parents' room. Before I could make it to the room, I stepped on a loose nail. The nail embedded itself into my big toe, piercing right through it. God damn it, Dahlia! Shoes off so I can
that.
Shoes off so I can rub my toes. Rub my toes. Ow, Dahlia! Why you gotta keep? Why is it always the extremities?
Easier to survive.
I don't think she wants us to survive the panic attack and the heart attack from the writing. I yelled in pain as I dropped to the ground. My parents ran out and were by my side in seconds. Oh no, let's get this cleaned up, my mom calmly responded. Before I knew it, my dad was carrying me downstairs. Everyone followed behind as my father laid me on the living room couch. Jamie found me. He knows we are here, I cried. I pulled out my phone to show the message from Jamie. Just then a new message from him appeared. October 22, 2024. Jamie. Aw, did you hurt yourself? 12:08 a.m. My mom's face paled as she read the message. The voice of my father faded in and out as I fought to stay conscious. Before I knew it, I blacked out. What the?
And I'm guessing this is a continuation of the one that okay. Damn. Damn.
Okay. So again, this is a continuation of Crossroads. Yes. The latest thing to grip Julie in its crosshairs. Double entendre. On purpose? Dom stormed into the office with a little more gusto than he would normally, but something had to give. It had been days since Nikki had showered or even eaten something that didn't come out of a paper bag in nearly a week. He had been drowning his sorrows in tequila and bourbon since he had been told by Valance Jr. there was nothing he could do. He refused to give up on the search for Piper, but in reality, it had been nearly 2.5 months since anyone that happened to be credible had laid eyes on her. He had enjoyed 10 years of being totally irresponsible when it came to his love life. Had he told her in Mexico or any of the other times after that how he really felt inside, instead of playing it off as if it was just a moment of weakness that would undoubtedly be repeated, she would have gone to the ends of the earth for him. Dom now looked at a shell of a man, desperate for any sign she was even still alive. The only two that knew where she was weren't talking and conveniently left every few days, if not at least once a week, to handle something for Don Valance. If Nikki hadn't been the drunken mess he currently was, he would have the sense to have them followed. Therefore, Dom had to make the call on that, and he was none too happy with what he found. Hence the reason he was standing in Nikki's office, ready to knock some sense into the one man he respected most. Looking at Nikki studying his passed-out form, Dom knew he would have to do something a little drastic to get his attention. Picking up the empty Jack bottle that his hand still barely gripped, he slammed it into the trash can, startling him awake as the glass shattered. Nikki flipped backwards out of his chair, landing face first onto the carpet behind him. Dragging himself off the floor, Nikki glared at him, ready to take his head off. What the fuck was that? Do you not know how to wake anyone up without nearly causing them to have a heart attack? Nikki braced himself on the side of his desk, trying to pull himself to his feet. Did you hurt yourself? Did you die? Dom looked at him with more than pity in his eyes. I could have. What the hell do you want? I want for you to go upstairs, take a fucking shower, sober the hell up, and meet me in the garage in 20 minutes. What the fuck for? Nikki's head was throbbing, more from the impact than the hangover. Because I have some information that can't be said within these walls. Nikki looked over at the door, waiting for it to open with his nightly delivery of food and booze. When no one knocked, Nikki looked at Dom with a puzzled look. Dom ran his hands through his hair and glared at his best friend. No one is coming to keep you satiated in your misery. I have told Don Valance that I'm taking you out to clear your head and talk some sense into you. Now don't make me drag your ass from that chair. Talk sense to me. Have you ever been in love? Do you know what it feels like to have your heart ripped from your chest? You know I do, but this isn't about me. Dom's eyes heated as he was trying so hard to control the demons that control his temper. After what seemed like a forever long staring contest, Nick finally shook his head and stood up to leave the office for the first time in nearly a month. Oh God, he had to have been rank.
Well, there is a bathroom off of his office, but yeah.
You really think his drunk ass was going in there and taking a shower in the office shower? I don't think so. He's wallowing in his misery, like the little pissant he is. Oh, I'm sorry. Nick finally shook his head and stood up to leave the office for the first time in nearly a month. He knew Dom was right, and he could at least use the fresh air if nothing else. He hated to admit he was hung up on Piper. No other female had ever understood him the way she did. And now it seemed like she was gone forever. And I want to change that female to woman, just, I don't know. Yeah. Fine, but you're buying. Dun dun dun. I'll agree to go out, but you're buying. You're buying. All right. I think, honest to God, when you get this all said and done and I'm going to enjoy this one. I don't know what it is about mafia stuff, but We all just can't get enough of it. It's all Goodfellas' fault.
Yeah, I know.
It is all Goodfellas' fault.
Well, between Goodfellas and Godfather, you throw a little casino in there, and then you're gold.
Yep.
So, where we last left off, where I left you all on that wonderful cliffhanger, not ever getting to the prompt, pulling a jewel. So, Sven has just got Maggie out from the car, and they realize that they don't have the
tool to get the tire down.
The tool to get the tire down from underneath the Armada. Okay. Her knight in shining armor for the day shut her door and walked to the driver's side. She raised her hand and clicked the lock button on the key fob. Not that there was anything worth stealing in the vehicle, but she didn't need the heartache when a stray toy went missing or became damaged, nor the wailing it would cause back at the cabin. Sven hopped in and moved the truck away from the berm. I know a guy in town. We'll get you fixed right up. When was the spare tire last serviced? Maggie shook her head weakly. I just bought the car last month. I'm sure I'm already due for an oil change with how much I've driven it. Beyond that, I haven't taken it in for maintenance. Jorge's your man. So how are you liking Montana so far? Far different from the East Coast, naturally. Maggie attempted to quell her shock. I like it fine. A little cooler than I'm used to. What makes you think East Coast? For starters, your accent. Second, your area code. He stared ahead, glancing at the side mirror with an air of nonchalance. Don't worry. You're safe here. His words, although she knew he meant to be reassuring, wrapped tendrils of fear around her heart. Maggie swallowed her trepidation and steadied her voice. Sure, it's safe enough. Nice people, very little crime. No, that's not what I meant, Maggie. Sven chuckled without humor. I mean, you are safe from whatever you came here to get away from. I'm not running away from anything. Sven grunted at her with faked mirth. How have you survived this long by yourself, telling that lie? Her indignation flared and she sputtered. How dare you? I am not a liar. Sven glanced in her direction with a shy smile. Not all lies are bad, darling. Some protect us from that which can hurt us. He turned to face the road again as she huffed and crossed her arms defiantly over her chest. Have you not figured out what Donna and I do? The woman beside him turned her face away from him, pretending to find interest in the landscape outside the window. I'll take that as a no. Do you think you are the first woman or family that has been hidden away in this wilderness? Do you think you are the first damsel in distress we have helped? I am not a damsel, she groused. And I'm no knight, but it was kind of you to say so earlier. Did you hurt yourself? Sorry, what? Did you hurt yourself, patting yourself on the back like that? Dun, dun,
dun. I like that sass.
So, yes, that's not bad for about 45 minutes worth of getting to where I needed to go.
Well, it's kind of like me tonight. I got home. I literally had an hour before the show, and I had to get my prop done. All right, guys. It's only 9:30, so I mean we're not doing too bad on time. But let's go ahead and get the rolls done. So,
do you have a hand for a roll, or do you? I mean,
I have a cat.
You have a cat.
I mean, I'm getting the dice out now, but whether she lets me do anything or not is an entirely different story. But I have Cat, and the reason I have Cat is because Cat feels like she was neglected because I was gone all day and I was gone all night, and she's not used to mommy not being home at night, so she has no one to sleep with. Okay, I have the 100 out. Here we go. Number 56.
Okay. Now, here's my next question, because we only have 53 of those prompts. You want to roll again and get below 54?
Let me see what we can do. If my cat will stop chasing my damn die. Quit. 38.
38. Okay.
I think we've hit on 38 before.
We have 3 long lists, and we've been rolling dice for a year.
I know. But no, I think 38 was one of those alien ones again, so it's like...
Well, yeah, 38. But what you just rolled is 138.
Right.
Okay. So 56 is explore the concept of a society that celebrates a unique holiday. Okay. And I'm not going to lie. I already know I am putting all 4 of these in a private message to Miss Dahlia. Because if this Jamie dude ends up as part of some kind of cult and there's a unique holiday involved, I'm just saying.
Right.
Been a little consistent there. Okay, 138 comes from our original flip book.
Oh.
We were going through that. After receiving a life-changing prophecy, the heir to an oil fortune plans the perfect red rum.
Ah.
All
Okay.
right, roll again.
Ooh, that might even play into Crossroads. Okay.
All right, see?
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Next one.
Starters.
4. We haven't had one that low in a minute.
Right? And this one, starting first line. I would have lived longer if it wasn't for Ethan. Now again, remember, you can change the names.
Right.
The names are placeholders.
And what do we mean by live? I mean, like, unalived live, or?
I would have lived longer if it weren't for Ethan.
Huh.
Up in heaven, looking down, down in hell, looking up, telling a story, being unalived, being a ghost.
Or, I would have lived longer,
Okay,
one more?
One more. This is a dialogue tag.
No, too far. Okay. Okay, number 9. Like I said,
I was really hoping for 31 on that one, but that's neither here nor there when we get to that one. All right, number 9 is you don't want to live in a society like this, yet you don't want to do anything about it.
Say that again.
You don't want to live in a society like this, yet you don't want to do anything about it.
Okay, and what is 109?
Oh, that dialogue, we don't have over 100.
Oh, I thought we had over 100.
No, that's the generic regular prompts that we started out with has over 150. That's why we rolled 2 out of that to try and give options. But we have less than 100 we have 100 starting prompts, and we have exactly 100 dialogue ones because Dahlia inspired me to go looking for some more. And Dahlia also contributed one. So that is something that I wanted to say. Join the mailing list. Reply back with prompts that you've come across that you want added to the list, etc. But I think this week, whatever we vote on, I will make sure that this is the official one. But I'm going to include all 4 of the prompts in the newsletter so that if you want to expand your writing or it's something that sparks you for another story, go for it. There will be the official, and then there's the rest of them shared to do with as you please.
All right, so 1, 2, 3, or 4, and those options are:
number 1, explore the concept of a society that celebrates a unique holiday. 2, after receiving a life-changing prophecy, the heir to an oil fortune plans the perfect red rum. 3, starting first line, I would have lived longer if it weren't for Ethan. And number 4, you don't want to live in a society like this, yet you don't want to do anything about it. All right. Yeah. 2 votes for 4, 3 votes for 4. What is it with you people and the dialogue?
I'm actually stuck between 3 and 4. I like that first.
That's me right now. I'm stuck between 3 and 4, but I'm probably going to use 2, 3, and 4 for this. So,
which one is our prompt for next week? Doesn't matter. Ethan is a placeholder name. Ethan could be Matilda. Ethan could be Jeremy. Ethan could be
Xander.
Ethan could be Mom. Dad. Doesn't matter. It's a placeholder name. It can be adjusted and massaged. No, it cannot be Izzy. Okay? It is not my fault that anybody unalived. Okay? It is not my fault.
I would have lived longer, but if it wasn't for Izzy telling me the wrong directions to the Fountain of Youth.
Crystal, you've seen the meme videos that I have been sending you. Do not question my verbiage. Okay, so we have, 3 people who are torn between 3 and 4. 2 people who want Ethan. And 1 that wants the quote, society. Fearless leader, I do believe that is as close to a tie as we're ever going to get.
So I'm the tiebreaker.
Huh?
So I'm the tiebreaker?
You are our fearless leader?
Make us do both, 3 and 4.
Actually, that's what I was going to go with, 3 and 4.
All right. If you can find a way to fit 1 and 2 in as well, Dahlia, I mean, go for it, because you are like a queen at fitting all of that stuff in. So, we're really going out with a bang if we're going out at all. We don't know yet. Again, don't forget to go to the link in my bio or Julie's bio. Find the Hold My Pen Promptcast. That will take you to the beacons for the show. And it has all the things. It's got our Discord. It's got our mailing list. It's got our email address. We do not spam you with that email. And if everybody is like joining, because we get 50 free email blasts a month, right? So that means every email I send out right now to Trisha, Patrick, Dahlia, and Shay, or is it Shar? I don't know. We've got like 4 or 5 subscriptions to the mailing list. So every week, that's 5 of our 50 free emails. Okay. So that being said, if we max out on those, Julie and I will find a way.
Oh yeah, no, we will absolutely find a way
for that, because we want to stay in contact. We want to get this out to people, and people can reply to it with your submission for the week. And this week we're going to include all 4 of them and mention that you got to work number 3 and number 4 into the work.
Right.
Okay. And of course, again, starting next January, we don't know where we're going to be, but we do know that we are still going to be alive and kicking.
Right.
You can't keep this down.
No.
No. Literally has been 21 years in the making. This thing. This ain't going nowhere. So that being said, we've got big plans for next year, and we want you guys to stay in touch and know where we are, when we are, what we are, and where to find us. So make sure you're subscribing so that we can, 1, include you in our prompters million words written for 2025. Yes, and Izzy and I will be going to, or not Izzy and I'm Izzy. What? Kesh and I will be going to Tennessee in just after the new year. So, fun times. And oh shit. Yeah, that's a topic for another clarification. But we want the million words for 2025 by our prompters. We want to keep that tallied up and brag to the world about how much great work that you guys are doing. We're also going to start doing the author interviews and author spotlights, book release parties, more prompts, more fun stuff. And we cannot wait to keep going on this journey with all of you.
Right. And I mean, as I've told everybody, it doesn't matter if we're here, we're there, or we're everywhere. We've built something very meaningful.
So what you submit, right?
So yeah, if you submit
for that week, if you keep adding to the same document, obviously we're gonna do some adjustments and whatnot. But every week after the end of the week, we're gonna be like, okay, our prompters came up with this many words, bringing our grand total for the year to this.
Yep. It's going to be amazing.
It is.
Because when I came up with this, everybody was like, you're crazy. And I'm like, well, if you think about it, no, I'm not. Because most of us write 90 to 100K for stories. So you get 10 people to write 10 different stories, or 20 people to write 50K stories in a year. We'll hit that million words and then shoot it completely out of the park.
Because literally, here's the crazy thing, right? If you've got 10 people going towards a goal of 100,000 each, okay, right? Each, I do 100,000. PA does 100,000. Julie does 100,000. Dahlia does 100,000. CR does 100,000. Okay, we got 10 people. It's basically writing 8,333 words a month.
Yep.
I don't know about y'all, but I think I have done that in a weekend before.
Oh yeah, we did.
Now, did I do anything the other 3 weekends of the month? Fuck no, I didn't. But that one day, I had that burst of creativity, and I came up with 10,000 words.
Yep. And a map.
Yes, I did. I created a map. I created character sheets and over 10,000 words in my book that I will eventually get back to. At least nobody's languishing in a coma right now. Anyway, that's the point, is this community encouraging each other, holding each other to task, holding people's toes to the flames, and basically saying, you're going to do this because you're good at it and you're growing. I am a critical reader, and I have been reading college level books since I was a preteen. I have a demon. Get out of here! Sorry, it wasn't a demon, it was a demon baby with the tortitude.
Ah.
Yeah, baby tortitude. Anyway, what was I saying?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay.
But, I love you guys, but I am fading fast. I've been up since 2 a.m.
Yes, you need to go to bed. Julie
We'll
myself.
wake up tomorrow and see what we can do for brainstorming.
Hey, Tess. And, obviously, Julie or myself will have the video up, whether it's us talking about it or putting up our lovely background with the words across. We may do multiple ones. Let's go out strong.
Yeah, we're going out with a bang, people, and let's put it this way. I didn't let anybody tell me I couldn't play frickin' football, so quite literally, I'm not going to tell anybody that we ain't going to have a fucking show.
The number of times...
And that was 20-something years ago.
Exactly. The number of times I've been told, well, you can't do that. Oh, really? Watch me.
You know what? Hold my pen and watch this shit.
Bingo.
And that's where we're all at.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have 3 prompts left of the year. And here's the kicker. On that last prompt, that is our 1 year in the making anniversary.
You might be spurring with this prompt King of Shadows.
Ooh.
I don't know what that means. They know what that means. I don't know what that means. That's okay. I'll find out.
If I'm not mistaken, King of Shadows is book 5.
It's the 5th book I'll write, but not in a series, no. It's
Right.
another one of my standalones.
Right.
All right, Julie, I hate to be mom in this instance, but
yeah, I gotta go to bed. I love you guys. Thank you for showing up tonight. Sorry for the craziness, but we got it. We're good.
We got it. We're
right.
good.
Night, guys.
Girls.
I'm going to the other place here soon. No, King of Shadows is second star to the right.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, Mr. Patrick. Good night. Good night. Once again, guys, please make sure that you are joining the mailing list. Come join us in the Discord. We have fun. This show, on the road, uncensored, quite a bit. Come and join us. Come and join the mailing list. And whatever you do, be brave, be bold, but always stay humble.